Thanks for staying with us. Welcome. It's Monday morning on Your View. I am Mariah Afolabi Brown. Welcome to the show. I have with me Tokwe Marco Dige. How you doing, Tokwe?
I'm good. So while everybody was lovering up in there, wherever I was hustling up on the island, but I had fun. That was my first time doing a live at a site. So I see many other real estate companies that when they go on their site, they will do like Instagram live or Facebook live and sort of like say, this is what it looks like. I didn't know how effective it is because apparently, immediately I stopped going live like this. Everybody was just calling. So I went to Rep 360 facility at Beachwood. Very developed, very beautiful. People don't know. So the video shows you the reality. And because Facebook cannot be edited, people can trust that what I'm saying right now is live. So I discovered something interesting. Yes, I want to close deal. Mariah, I don't want to have fun. I want to make money. That's the
idea, Mariah.
I'm fine, thank you. My weekend was nice. I was pleasantly surprised by my family. Yeah, my husband and my kids got me a cake, and really lovely. I was moved to tears. I didn't expect it. I mean, we were small, but just the fact that they did it together, this is a surprise. I was just in the room and they came in like, we love you, Mommy.
And they codedly planned it without you.
And you know how I can be, but I had no clue. So
that was so
sweet. Really beating you to your game.
Yes, that was really
sweet. You
look
beautiful now.
Thank you.
She's a fine
Thank you. I think I'm still in the
very girly.
You know,
and
this
loved.
morning I even said to the children, I said, thank you. You're my blessing. You know, I am really blessed, Mariah. You know, there are so many things that just are not perfect, and then sometimes when it comes to marriage, you're afraid to open your mouth and speak because people are like, what's she feeling like? Yes, but I am truly blessed. That man has been really good to me. My children are just truly blessed.
We're happy for you.
Good to know. How are you doing this year?
I'm doing amazing. So we started as a Valentine's celebration from Friday.
Yeah.
It was a very hot Friday night. And then afterwards, he took me to the movies. We saw the movie. We came back. Saturday, we watched Merlin all night till 3 a.m. We woke up yesterday in the afternoon, then we went to the spa. Then we had a massage. Both of us had a massage. And when we came back, I had already grilled fish. I told people I was going to grill fish.
Yeah.
He bought the fish because he has given me, I did not buy him gift. He said, you bought it, I grilled it. It's partnership. So we had dinner with my little baby in the house. It was fun. It was good.
I was waiting to hear your Valentine's story because I know that mine will be very boring business, but you guys apparently had all the fun on my behalf. So I'm loving on your behalf.
How was your Valentine's?
We saw it all over.
We saw it all over it.
So we can move on then. It was fun. It was fun. I mean, we got invited to a place called Riviera Suites on the island. We had dinner, so it was saying, you finally got your husband to take you out to dinner. No, he has not taken me out to dinner. Everybody invited us, and we went together, and that was it. But it was fun, you know, it was nice. But I have birthday shout-outs.
Yes.
First, I have one of our mothers in my church, Mommy Afelaka, Mommy Mrs. Stella Afelaka. Yesterday, February 14th, was actually her birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. Many happy days. Yes, she's a lover baby. So yesterday was her birthday. I also have some shout-outs from... I have good morning, Mariah. I'm Captain Godwin Inyam, and please kindly wish Mrs. Charity Inyam and her daughter Mary Sonia Inyam. My wife will be 40 years and Sonia will be 11 years both. On today's their birthday, February 15. Happy birthday, mommy and daughter. Oh, sounds very happy. I share same birthday with my mom too.
Shout out to a big friend of mine, Samuel Uche. She's a customer turned sister.
Oh, wow.
She's always looking out for me. She's always buying. I've told her that very soon we'll open one part of your room. Just stop my hairs because she's bought hairs like seriously. It was her birthday on Saturday. Happy birthday, Mom.
I have a couple.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, so first of all, there's this person says, please a shout out to his son, Mohammed Awal Olumide Olubaji.
I was about to read that.
He's 10 years today, so happy birthday from his dad and his mom, Mr. and Mrs. Olubaji. And then Nima had sent a message last time, so it's in arrears.
Yeah.
Yes, so 7th birthday to Elijah and Elisha Oluwani. They're twins. Their 7th birthday from their parents.
We love twins here.
We have to run, unfortunately. We run out of time. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Right, we're going to start with the nation. Thanks for joining us. Buhari, we won't tolerate ethnic religious violence. CBN sets 15 months for 21.3 billion National Theatre remodeling. New airlines raise stakes in domestic aviation sector. Ibadan market crisis, traders count losses. Tariff cut on commercial vehicles begins and Nigerian stocks lose 663 billion naira amid global rally. Right,
Let's talk about
major
this.
headline.
Okay. I wanted to do the CBN.
Oh, go ahead.
It has a major
CBN.
headline. So, the 21.3 billion National Arts Theatre remodeling will be completed in the next 15 months, according to the CBN governor. They had already signed the memorandum of understanding, and so that memorandum is to hand over the National Theatre to the Bankers Committee.
Exactly.
So this is actually going to be providing about 25,000 to 30,000 jobs to young creatives. They are planning to have like 4 different buildings in that area. They are going to have buildings for fashion, for music, for film, and IT. And they are hoping that before the president leaves office in 2023, he's going to hand over and inaugurate the commission.
Let me take the major headlines.
Yeah.
So the president, speaking through the president's Buhari's statement issued by the Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Malam Garba Shehu, specifically said that President Buhari has vowed to protect all religious and ethnicity within the country. He was speaking to the Nigerian Governors Forum. All the governors of all states should work together. That it was good that the government is going to react. That they don't want anybody that is not going to push unity of Nigeria.
Right.
And I'm wondering that even minority groups, there will be whether minority or majority, and it is in line with the responsibility of the Constitution. I want to see the president though. I would rather, there's so much insecurity, there's so much going on. Rather than the statement be released by Garba Shehu, can we see him? Can he face us and tell us how serious he is about what is going
So
on?
we're going to take one more story?
Yeah, so the International Maritime Organization has lent its support to the newly launched action plan by NIMASA, which is Revised Marine Litters and Microplastic Action Plan. And really what it's about is to help stop the litter that happens in the ocean. And it's supposed to make sure that we have a cleaner and safer and healthier ocean, because that makes our planet healthy. And so the international organization is saying they're supporting this and they'll do all that they can to make sure there's
moving
no
on very
litter
quickly
in
now
ocean.
to Daily Sun. Northern elders to Buhari, Nigeria on fire under you. Reps of House of Reps probes CBN accounts from 2014 to 2019. Evacuate Northerners from Southwest now, Arewa Youth tell region governors. Ohaneze wants law against open grazing in Southeast. Minister denies link with Lekki Concession Company. Shasha market clash, unfortunately, says Vice President Oshimbajo. Okay, Mo Ibrahim, Okojawela, others for the Lagos Economic Summit. Yes, which story are you taking?
The minister. So the story went out after the Lekki protest that Minister of Youth Sunday Dare is affiliated with LCC and that is complicit in what happened there. So he mentioned, and let me quote it, let it be categorically stated that Mr. Dare is not a stakeholder, shareholder, director or contractor in LCC. He collects no proceeds from the LCC directly or indirectly, as the malicious social media posts tried to suggest without an iota of fact. He also mentioned that if they don't retract the statement, he was going to pursue legal actions against those
We get a lot of
false
these kind of things on social media. People just come up with something and just, before you know, it goes viral. It's really, really painful. You won't understand the gravity until it happens to you.
Exactly.
Something you did not say, something you did not do, and somebody just comes up. It's really, really painful. Let's take another story. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes, so Ohaneze, they are throwing their weight behind the Southeast governors for the ban on open grazing. And they are applauding the Southeast governors, saying that this is majorly one of the problems between the farmers and the herders, and this ban will help to curb that problem. And they are asking that for it to be enforced, they need laws to be enacted. So it's very important. They are calling on the House of Assembly to put laws in place to legislate it so that it can be enforced. And they are appealing to the Hausas, the Yorubas, the Igbos to live together. Nigeria is for everybody. We should just find a way to live peacefully.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
So the major headline, the Northern Elders Forum spokesperson Hakim Baba Ahmed was saying that attacking innocent Southerners living in the North would not be the right response to attacks on the Northerners, and also vice versa, northerners living in the south. We should demand that Nigerians, wherever they are, be protected. President and governors, they must do something now. And he was insisting that action must be taken to stop and not let this country go up in flames, like some are already stoked in the afternoon. Moving on now to The Punch. Inbound passengers shun isolation, enforcement collapses. Lagos trader baths apprentice in acid, victim detained for 3 months. Suspected herdsmen strike in Ondo, Ogun, kill 6 farmers. Makinde Akeredolu meets Ibadan markets, warring parties preach peace. And you see a picture here of the damage that was done in Shasha. Okonjo-Iweala, Mo Ibrahim, others for the Lagos Ehingbeti Summit as it opens tomorrow. Ohaneze Pandeva Afenifere berate NIS for saying no armed herders. Okay.
Yeah, I have the human interest story.
Yes,
this
go ahead,
is
please.
really a sad story of a young man, a 17-year-old Ifeanyi, who is an apprentice he's an apprentice with his boss. Sorry, I forget his name now, I'll check it later. And what happened was the owner of the shop was doing the stock taking and realized that some of his goods had been stolen. And he called all the apprentices and demanded for the whereabouts of these items and sort of threatened them, to get it back. He said after that meeting, everyone else ran away except for Ifeanyi, and the man this apprentice normally lived with him. And when they went home, the man took acid and poured on this young man, and he was completely burnt. He locked him up in the toilet for some days without any treatment. And after a few days, he took him out of that toilet and locked him up in the room for 3 months. It took that boy, to escape and for people to see him, and they took him to the Human Rights Office in Ikeja for this story to come out. People had been asking of his whereabouts at the market, like, we haven't seen him. And the boss was like, yeah, can I... Don't worry, I'm doing something with him or for him. Nothing. He just locked that boy up. There's a picture of him covered in sores and everything.
Really, really painful.
Very sad.
Wickedness.
Wicked.
That's just not
some
all the
people are
way.
wicked. Major story?
Yes, please.
Yes, so there's been strong indications that a lot of people are not paying attention, or they are not adhering to the 14 days isolation, international travelers. So they come back and they just move in and start relating with people. A lot of them, according to some eyewitnesses, say that they come back and they travel for burials, they're not using face masks, and also they are asking Lagos State, especially Lagos State, and Lagos State is saying that they are not really focusing on isolating people. They ensure that they are tested. So they have a database of all the people who come in who are tested. So they are not following up one-on-one. There are no people to follow up on them in their homes to ensure that they stay 14 days before coming out into the public. I just pray, yes, that people should be responsible.
At the end of the day, it's personal responsibility. Then we were talking about it. Yes, the government will do their own, make noise about it. But you also, as a human being, must take responsibility.
People are even falsifying their results coming into
painful.
the country, and it's really sad.
Especially
bringing in the UK strain that is very deadly, and you don't ensure
they falsify from there?
Yes, they are falsifying from the UK coming here. They found out there that Nigerians are falsifying. They shouldn't be doing that. It's terrible.
Later you now say government did, government did.
They are coming from burial, so they can't even isolate. So at least ensure you are negative before coming. You now falsify them, come here and go into the interlands to do your burial ceremony.
Very, very painful. And they'll be the ones screaming the most that government did not do this. Moving on now to Nigerian Tribune. Criminals will be dealt with, Makinde vows. Bandits kidnap 18 passengers in Niger State Transport Company confirms actually. Quick notice, 107 herders returned, not 4,000 to Kaduna. Further increase in fuel price may cause unrest, PDP wants federal government. And we will not watch some people destroy Nigeria, says Defense Minister. Okay, which story are we taking?
Should we do I know we're talking about it later, but just what happened.
Yeah.
So Governor Makinde of Oyo State and Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State visited the troubled Shasha community. Did I get it? Shasha community in Oyo State, and they were appealing to people, telling them that they should find a way to live in peace, that they are very strict about fishing out the hoodlums who are responsible. Investigations are ongoing right now. And across the southwest states, every state is having their issues, but they had to leave what they were doing to come and show that they are in solidarity. And they also promised to take care of the people who have lost their, compensate the people who have lost their properties, their lives.
And they're going to also compensate those who lost their buildings. They'll rebuild for you. But the criminal elements, we will prosecute.
So 18 passengers were kidnapped by bandits. on their way. This is in Niger State, and they were on their way to Minna from Kontagora. They were found, a woman and her baby were found in a bus after the bandits had come. They blocked the road, they took everyone away except for her and the baby. Well, as of now, they're investigating to see what has happened. There's no story of where they are, who they are, but just that this is what has happened so far. She has been reported here, has been rescued from the scene. So
good news for
all
local
right,
travelers.
unfortunately, we need to run off. That's all we can take in Fun Page Review. When we come back, everybody's worried about Shasha community in Oyo State. This morning we'll be having a guest talk through exactly what the governor has done and what's happening right there. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So crisis erupted over the weekend at Shasha Market in Ibadan, Oyo State. Though normalcy has returned, our guests will be bringing us up to speed as regarding the root cause of the alleged crisis. The purpose of this discussion is to seek and promote peace and not to heighten the inflammable situation. Joining us on the show now is the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Oyo State, Mr. Taiwo Adisa. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good to have you on the show. Very well. So many of us are quite worried. Many of us are quite worried about what happened in Oyo State, and we're happy that normalcy has returned. But it's important for us to go back to the root cause, because we don't want a ripple effect in other communities. We don't want people taking laws into their hands. Could you tell us exactly what occurred and how it started? How did it get to the point where houses and properties were being burnt?
Well, it was an unfortunate incident. There was a clash between Hausa and Yorubas in Shasha. You will know that that community has been a melting pot for all tribes for so many years. We were told, the eyewitnesses, a lot of eyewitnesses that we gathered information from, said there was a clash between an Hausa cat pusher and a Yoruba young man who was trying to caution the cat pusher not to rough handle a pregnant woman. And then the cat pusher was said to have hit the Yoruba person with a ring, so to say. A ring, probably, we were told that it's a charmed ring, and then the person fell down and started foaming from the mouth. And that led to tension, the growing tension. And then eventually, unfortunately, the person died in the hospital, was confirmed dead in the hospital, and that escalated the tension. But we have been able to gather that that was just a trigger. There were some underlying issues in that market of issue particularly pertaining to leadership of that market has been an issue. Some people were told have been pushing for the relocation of that market because they don't like one leadership or the other, things like that. So they had underlying issues, then this acted as a trigger, and then the whole market, the large chunk of the market got burnt.
So, Mr.
And where some lives were also lost. So it's unfortunate. But the situation is calm now. The governor has gone there. He received solidarity from Southwest governors, his Southwest colleague, led by the chairman, came in solidarity to the governor of Oyo State, Governor Shemakinde, that they visited the spot. And I can tell you that normalcy has done a lot of activities.
All right, Mr. Adisa, what I would like to do what I'd like to hear from you as a follow-up is, have you identified the stakeholders in this, and have their grouse been addressed since this whole thing happened?
Yes, seriously, we have identified the stakeholders. We met, the governor met with the stakeholders till late in the night of yesterday. He told the market leaders when we visited that they should choose five from Yoruba side, five from Hausa side, to meet with him. He later extended that to Sabo. Sabo is another community with huge presence of Hausas. So he has also extended that. He extended that to Hausa. So in the evening of yesterday, the meeting started at the government house, and it ended well into the night.
Okay.
And the issues have been resolved largely among the leadership. The leadership have been told yesterday to now dictate the message down to the communities of their membership. So they've started the peace talks right away from that yesterday. So the stakeholders are cooperating. I can tell you that they left the meeting at the government house yesterday with all the governors, the Security Council of the state, actually. They left the meeting happy, and they were actually clapping and holding hands. They actually have a picture that they took in unity yesterday.
All right.
So it's good to hear that a lot has been done to sort of try to resolve the issues, but really normalcy can't return with the level of carnage that took place there if there is no form of protection that would go to those who have lost things. We can't when we replace them. What will be done to deter this kind of things from happening again is where we prosecute. What is the government doing to fish out the elements that let this thing escalate? Because they will be able to identify those who set things on fire and then punish those people specifically. Because I don't think we can have proper normalcy until that is dealt with. What is the government doing to deal with those situations and prosecute those offenders?
Yeah, thanks so much, my sister there. When trees fall on trees, you first of all remove the one on top, and before you can get to the depth. So the first thing is to say, let us calm the situation down. So the situation is calm. The police were not on holiday, even when this thing happened. So they were on ground, and the detectives have swung into action. I can tell you that a number of arrests have been made, and I can tell you that the prosecution will be swift, will be thorough, and the state will ensure that, yes, if we don't put a stop to this kind of unnecessary throw of emotion, unnecessary anger and all that, we cannot have a sustained economy and a sustained peace in the country. So we have to nip this in the bud.
Right.
Well, if it happens spontaneously as it did, we've got to get to the root of it, and we are getting to the root of it. The perpetrators will be dealt with according to the law. The combination of police was on ground fully all through yesterday morning, yesterday afternoon, and up to the night, the meeting that held in the night. She was all on ground. All the other service commanders were also on ground. The army was also cooperative and all that. So the perpetrators will be brought to book account.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Mr. Taiwo, I would like to ask what sort of plans are you people putting in place to avert a future occurrence? Now, when this happened, it degenerated before any law enforcement was in that area. So how do you ensure that if anything like this wants to happen, the law enforcement is ready to stop it? Because it should be more about preventive and not just reactive. So what sort of plans are you people putting in place to ensure that this cannot happen again?
Yes, why this happened to the extent that it happened is because of the nature of that market. The market is something that we probably started like the pidgin people would say, like play. I can attest to that, because right now the homes of people have mixed with market. So there are residential areas, there are marketplaces, everything lumped together. That is the nature of that market. So it's difficult for people to really identify, oh, this is just a home of somebody, or this is a store or warehouse. So that was the foundation for the crisis. Right now, efforts are already being made by the committee in the Ministry of Commerce to locate an appropriate space where the market will be moved to, where the ground there will be owned, and the entire store there will be owned by government. Only the marketers will just be tenants, so that you won't have residents within the market area, such that when things happen, you won't be able to, the security forces won't be able to know whether this is house of somebody or this is a market of a market store or a warehouse. So the efforts are already being made to make sure that that market is relocated. In due course, the government will locate a place where everybody will have to move to. And so that you remove, you remove the warehouses and stores, you remove them from residential areas.
Right.
That's the last
Okay,
solution.
let me go on a quick break, sir. When I come back, we'll continue this conversation with you. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Oyo State, Mr. Taiwo Adisa, with us. Mariam had a question for the break. Go ahead,
yes,
please.
so Mr. Adisa, this particular incident has been very shocking to a lot of people because of how long people there have lived together. And for me, I would like to understand what are the grassroots interventions that have been there before and what led to the breakdown that this could not have been handled before it escalated to this? Have you had that conversation? What are the things or people who are supposed to help in that community when there's any, disagreement or conflict before it breaks down to this level?
Well, I would tell you that what happened, we cannot take it in isolation as if it's just a Shasha problem. The fact remains that the growing tension all across the country is permitting into different communities, one way or the other. Probably a victim in one place relocates to another place. The victim in another place is a brother to somebody, is a cousin to somebody, another. So the growing tension all across the country will have as a way in what happened, in what we saw in Sasha. The community ordinarily have been living peacefully within themselves. There have been no particular issues. The ballet of Sasha on the side of the Yoruba, I know didn't mention any particular breakdown. I had no issue. They just said that some persons.
Mr. Adisa, are you there? Okay, I think we're having... Hello, sir, we didn't hear you.
Oh, sorry, there was an intervention there. When we went to his palace, told the governor that he was sure that some person somewhere those wanted to find a way of terminating the market within his community to be let push the place and affect the economy of his area. But what I can tell you is that the harmony that was there within Nigerians, among Nigerians, had broken down. Generally, it's all across the communities. You hear of crisis in Benue, you hear of crisis in Ondo, you hear of crisis in Ogun, in Delta, everywhere. So that code generally at the level of the national level states, that's one thing that I would say will.
All right, Mr. Adisa, let me pause you for a second because you just touched on something very. Mr. Adisa, let me pause you for a second. You just touched on something very important because these communal clashes are not new, but because of the clashes we've been having in recent times, what can we do to educate Nigerians, help them understand that we've been living peacefully together, and this rough patch that we're in right now, that we can actually work it out amicably. Because so far, we don't want that thing to happen and to spiral out of control across the country. Nobody wants a war, between ethnic war. We've seen it in Rwanda, we've seen it in other countries. We don't want that here. So what can we do to begin to educate, especially those at the grassroots, middle level, and even the top class? Because the rhetoric we see in the papers also almost flame these things, inflame these things. So what can we do across board? Maybe educating people.
Well, okay. What we can do, I think the message, the solution will start first of all from the leadership. both the topmost leadership and then to go down like that. The message has to come from leaders and the body language and the message have to align together to be able to see, for people to be able to see that we are running a united one country. When people see that ordinarily and it's taken for granted that where I can live in Sokoto, I can live in Zamfara, I can live in anywhere, and I will not be seen as a second-class citizen in my own country. And you also practicalize it at the level of government and politics. They will be able to now communicate with education, with jingles at the level of radio, television, messages in the newspapers, messages in the media generally, and then actions of the political leaders.
Right.
You can't expect socio-political groups to be fanning embers of a crisis, and then you think that the people who are most vulnerable, the people at the lower rung, you think that they will take that message, or they won't take that message as if it's their Bible.
Let me get a few more questions in for you, Mr. Nisa.
All right, Mr. Taiwo.
The leaders particularly have to pass messages that are responsible and have to pass messages that unite everybody.
All right.
Mr. Taiwo, I'm aware that the market has been shut indefinitely. I want to ask, was there an alternative, provided for the people who, the marketers, the market women and men who use that place for their means of livelihood? Did you provide an alternative? And how long will this shutdown be? Was there something that they can fall back on till it's reopened again?
Well, life, you have to first of all sustain life before you talk of whether you can sell something or not. A lot of the marketers say that they've lost everything, they've lost their wares, so the anger is still there right now. So whether anybody will be able to eat, will be able to sell its ware or whatever, their wares are not even there to be sold. So there's no date as to when we are going to reopen the market. The government will be sure and reassured that there won't be any kind of ethnic tension or escalation, and that peace will sustain when the market will be reopened. But the first thing that we even have to do, because of the massive damage that was done to several stores, that if you open the market now, only a few people whose stores were not broken down or whose stores were not vandalized or burnt will come there. And then you leave a massive number of people who have been affected, you leave them in the cold, and that will also be a source of anger and a source of tension. So the government will look at all the parameters before we can come to conclusion as to when that market will be open. As to whether there is an alternative space. Right now, the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Commerce, they are looking at possible places where people can be moved to. But as to even allowing people to trade in that place right now, is enough.
Right.
So there's a question from Facebook. Someone was asking if the governor has visited the family of the slain man and what are the compensation plan for him. That's one. Number two is just in addition to what Murayo asked. We knew that, even the governor mentioned that the way the WhatsApp audios and videos were circling on people's phones, there's likely going to be attacks. That the atmosphere was tense for any community that had mixture of Northerners and Southerners, it was going to be a tense moment. What is the government doing now to go to all the other markets that have Northerners and Southerners, all those sabos in different communities, to create a peaceful coexistence already on ground and calming the tension so that we prevent damages before they happen? So those are the two questions I'm asking you, sir.
Well, the environment was tense in Shasha yesterday when the governor visited. A lot of the people just jump on the train and started following the governor to every point and other. So it reduced the location, the point that the governor could touch. So the governor was not able to touch the house of the slain man, but his brother was he was made to join the convoy of the governor. So the government has established contact with the family since that yesterday, and palliatives, whatever they are, will be provided for the family, some sort of succor. You can't buy life, can't bring back life, but some sort of support will come to the family. As to what the government will do, I didn't quite get that question. There was an interference.
Oh, okay. I mentioned that there are many other communities, so many other Sabo-like areas where you have interactions between northern.
Yeah. I got it now. Yes, you know, I told you earlier that the meeting initially that our governor called for yesterday evening was to be between leaders of the Hausa and Yoruba leaders in Shasha. But the governor immediately extended it to Sabo because there's a huge Hausa community in Sabo area of Ibadan. So that will not be the only meeting. That will not be the last meeting. It's a continuous thing. You remember that Oyo State also has a special assistant to the governor on community relations from the Arewa stock. And so he has taken it up. It's tough now to make sure that it brings the leadership together, and then whether it means some further intervention from the governor is ready to do that. So continuously, the peace meetings will be organized between Hausa communities and Yoruba communities, even between other tribes also. You also know that there's also a huge presence of South and Southeasterners also in the Southwest here. So all across the region.
All right, we need to wrap up now. Thank you, Mr. Adisa. Are you there? Okay, we have to wrap up. Thank you very much. We'll be speaking with the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Oyo State, Mr. Taiwo Adisa, who's given us information on exactly how the governor and the government have handled the issue that happened in Shasha over the weekend. We only pray for peace because nobody likes war, and these are communal clashes are not new, but our job is to prevent it from happening in the future, and hope that all the stakeholders involved at some aspect have been calmed, and hopefully this won't happen again. Okay, let's go on a break. When we come back, a legend left the building, and everyone has been celebrating. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So last week, Lagos and Nigeria lost the first civilian governor of Lagos State, late Chief Lateef Jakonde. And many of us in this generation only hear that he was a premier governor who invested in housing, infrastructure, education, and so much more. But we didn't know exactly the details of how he ran his administration. Joining us to review the life and time of the late governor is his indelible legacies is the former chairman, Economic Board of Lagos State, Professor Abisogun Lee. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yes, good to have you on the show. So we know you've been busy lately because obviously everybody wants to hear from you and learn more about late Governor of Lagos State, Alhaji Jakonde. Yes. But I'd like to get a bit of an insight, especially when LASU was established and how the whole idea came about, and how was it working with him as a governor at the time? What were his principles? What were his values? What were his standards of work? What was the work ethics at the time? Tell us a bit about him.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. It will be a great tribute to that action governor called Alhaji Lateef Jakonde. One of the assignments he gave me was to head a technical committee to plan for the establishment of a Lagos State University. But we need to provide a background. Free education was one of the cardinal programs of the UPN party under which he ran for office. And if you look at the records, we were running free education at all levels in the state. So it occurred to Alhaji Jakonde at a meeting, and then he summoned us to let us know that what would deliberate on an issue of the future of the products of the free education system in Lagos State. For example, after the students graduated from secondary school, what would be their fortune? Would they be able to carry on further? And at that time, we had the University of Lagos, which did not regard Lagos as a catchment area. They said citizens of Lagos will have to compete with all the others. So, he commissioned two people, Dr. Dr. Idowu Sobowale, who is now Professor Idowu Sobowale, and the late Femi Agbalajobi, to give him an opinion on some of these things. Each one wrote a paper. I believe Agbalajobi wanted a special technical university, and Idowu Sobowale wanted the university that would be general. He turned over these two papers to four eminent professors in Nigeria at that time. Professor Ezekiah Oluwasomi, former Vice Chancellor, he was Vice Chancellor at that time of the University of Ife. Professor Adegbola of the University of Ife also. Mr. Mabogunje and Awojobi, four individuals were asked to also comment. After they've all submitted opinions, we collated the results, and then the technical committee, having 12 members, were established under my chairmanship. We deliberated in 1982, and we submitted our report to him. From the report, we were able to establish that we will have a non-residential university that will take care of all the products of the free secondary school education for Lagos State. That was one of the objectives. The second one was to provide trained manpower to help service the new dispensation in Lagos State, because many agencies were being created under Lateef Jakande, the man we refer to as the action governor. So that was how the concept and the birth of the Lagos State University took place. We established the university in 1983, and the first session started in 1984 under the pioneer Vice Chancellor.
Right. Let me get a few more questions in for you, sir, because there's so much to talk to you about. Go ahead.
So obviously,
yes.
From your story about him, he's obviously a man that knows how to galvanize, set a vision, and use people around him to push through the desires.
Yes.
Yes. He is also a man very known for the developments within real estate. So I would want to ask you, working with him, what did you think was his goal for launching what we now know as Jakande Estates around Lagos? What was he trying to achieve? And would you say that he was able to largely achieve it?
All right. You know, I can say clearly that he made a personal choice to serve the people of Lagos State. And once he became the governor, he was trying to solve some of the social problems that we had, like in education, in housing, in water, production of potable water to the people. So housing was one of the cardinal points of UPN. This gentleman took it upon himself to now go all out to use the available resources to achieve that purpose. One thing that many people did not know, Alhaji Jakande created series of committees to fashion out the best, the least cost way of building all these estates. And that was what he did. The committee under Dr. Oloro, Engineer Giwa, and so on and so forth. But to buttress your point, he had a knack. He had that innate ability to pick the right person for the right job. And he had extensive contract with suppliers of cement to beat down the cost of cement, which was a major item in the construction. For example, he also established a quarry. He knew we were going to need aggregates. So Lagos State government under him acquired a quarry near Abeokuta, where we were getting the aggregates to build these buildings. And I'm sure you know that the 2-bedroom flats were sold for just 5,000 and the 3-bedroom flats for 6,000 each. He was able to do all that. I must let the public know that the appellation Babakekere came about when we were opening the Odofin Amuwo estate. And that dedication was done by the leader of our party at that time, Chief Obafemi Awolowo. When Obafemi Awolowo surveyed first the number of the units of buildings that Jakonde put up within about a year, he said, definitely you, this man, you are Babakekere. You are not only action man, you are Babakekere. And he repeated this building, this housing estate in almost all the divisions. I want to point out also something that the current leaders may want to borrow. Jakonde had an holistic approach to development in the state. The development were not concentrated in only one part. For example, in Lagos division that he came from, everything he did, he replicated in all the 5 divisions. That's why you can find low-cost housing in Abeson. You can find it in Alimosho, find it in Ikorodu, find it in Epe, and so on. It's a major philosophy that somebody must be fair to all the constituents of the state.
Professor, go ahead, Maya.
Sir, usually when we talk about icons like this and people who have made a difference and have made great impacts, we tend to focus on, the wins. I would just like to understand how did he handle challenges? For many people, when you talk about people like him, they'll say, well, it was a different time. Things were much easier to do then. But I'm sure there must have been something in his character, that separated him. So how did he handle challenges? How did he deal with things like that?
I stated earlier that he chose, he made a conscious decision to serve. That was one. And he was willing to sacrifice all in that service. For example, I can tell you that his social life was nil. Alhaji Jakonde did not have no partying, no social ceremonies and so on. Every time he was on the business of governing Lagos and providing, as he will always tell us, the greatest number of goods for the greatest number of our citizens. That philosophy I found out to be very, very correct, because if you follow that, if you provide for the greatest number, your enemy will also benefit, and your children and relatives will benefit. Alhaji Jakonde could sit down at a meeting hours on end, hours, and he will not even get up to go and ease himself. That surprised us as his supporters and his lieutenants. Now,
all right, let me go out for a quick break, sir. I'll come back to continue with you. Stay with us. We'll be right back, sir.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have Professor Lee with us. Yes, BC had a question for the break.
Professor Lee, reading up about Alhaji Lateef's achievements, it was mind-blowing because he was able to achieve major feats in just the space of 4 years.
4 years, about 3 months.
Yes. I want you to, talk to our rulers, the rulers of today that we have, who constantly give us excuses with the, massive resources at their disposal. tell us that 4 years is not enough for them to achieve in different, in fact, to even give us something tangible to see that they need about 8 years and 30. What can you say to them this morning?
Well, I think you panelists you have actually nailed it. It's just an excuse. If you have a one-time period, if you put your mind and heart to it, if you are dedicated to that cause, you will be able to achieve it. And you have to be frugal also. Alhaji Jakonde cut all the costs to the barrels, every project to the barrels home. There was no flesh there for anybody to run after. You have to take it as it was. My advice to the people now, I think the major cause is that the party is not a general party anymore, the parties that they are running now. Some individuals own it. Yes, you can register, but to be able to say that we are the owners of this party, you must be able to contribute some little amount to finance it. I want to tell you that under Alhaji Jakonde, he was the chairman of the party in Lagos State. But even in Yaoloja, a vulcanizer, anybody, you have your card where you pay your 50 kobo or 20 kobo at that time to the party. So you had the right to now come at the assembly to come and express your feelings. Alhaji Jakonde created a procedure of listening to everybody. Everybody.
Honestly, I really wish we had more time to extol the virtues he represents, but I want people listening not to forget that he left the government poor. Like he did not enrich himself. Anybody who knew that he had been living at that number 2, Ilupeju, that street in Ilupeju, since he became governor. He did not change it. He did not move to Banana Island. He did not move to the plush area of the state. And I can tell you, by the time he finished office, he did not own any land in Victoria Land. I know because I was part of those who distributed the land. Even the party people, you will not be bold enough to ask him.
Professor, but would you say his children are benefiting today from his legacy? Because that's why these politicians steal money. They want to make sure that children don't suffer. Would you say Alhaji Jakonde's children today are they suffering or are they not suffering?
Well. I think the politics now is that you have to, I don't know how it is done, but children of Alhaji Lateef Jakonde, if they can pull their weight, because I don't believe that we should just drop it on their table. They must imbibe the nature, some aspect of nature of their father to render selfless service. If they do that, I don't think they should suffer. For now, I am not too sure. I don't know what is going on, but some of them are in position here and there.
Thank you very much, sir. And the name is bigger than...
we need to do a movie about this man. Movie producers.
All right, that's all we can do. Thank you very much, Professor Lee.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you.
Yes,
nice talking to you again.
That's all we can take at this point. I hope you learned something. I hope you're more importantly inspired.
Yes, we need to teach him in school.
I hope that we have him as a subject in school.
Yes, we need to. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.